Okay. When I cut my own hair today, I just took a shower and I just washed it, and it's nice and wet, which is how you want to do it when you're cutting your hair. Let me just make sure everything's good. Okay. So I'm just gonna comb my hair out. My hair is pretty long. Right now, for my likes, I like it when it normally is maybe like right here. So I'm cutting like 2 or 3 inches off. But right now it's getting too long, and when I lean back, I'm sitting on it. And that's kind of what I want to avoid right now. Okay, so I did go to beauty school and I know what I'm doing. I have a pair of professional shears. And okay, the first thing we're going to do is part our hair. So I like to part mine down the middle. Let me fix this really quick. Okay. So I want to do it down the middle. Is that down the middle? That looks like it's good. Okay. So straight down the middle, and you actually want to go straight all the way back to the back of your head. And I actually have a hard time doing this, but it's not that important if you don't make it. So what I'm doing is I'm just literally following the line and just going straight back down. Oh, my hair is a little knotted. Okay, let's see if that's straight. Okay. It's good to have a mirror just so you can see and see in the back. Okay, my hair is still not straight. My hair is really thick, so it's hard to use these little combs to do it. Let's try. And it doesn't have to be perfect because your hair moves, but it's still good to get it as straight as you can. Okay. Okay, let's check again. So the front's good. I like using the big comb sometimes to comb it just because it's easier to pull the hair in whatever direction you like. And okay, let's see if that's good. That's good enough. Like I said, it doesn't have to be too perfect when you're cutting it, because ultimately it's still all this straight. They're the same. Okay. The next thing you do is you part it down the side, right behind your ear. And this is also what they do at the salons when you get it cut. So you don't want to part it right here. That's too close to the front. You want to part it behind your ear, like behind this part, right here. Straight down. So actually that goes quite far back. And it's better to go farther back than too far forward because you'll cut off the front part. And then it'll look like a mullet. And again, this doesn't have to be so straight. It is good to make sure the line is in the right position though. Okay. That looks good. That looks straight. And then you want to make sure it's behind the ear. I don't know if I can because I can't see myself when I'm showing you guys. That looks good. Okay, let's see. Let's double check. Maybe a little farther back. Actually, that's fine. Okay. Because, oh, thank you for the follow, Blue Double Blazer. Okay, so that's because when you part it behind that your ear part, because when it goes down, that's the part of your hair that's you're gonna see, and this is all the long stuff. All the other stuff is gonna be your front that moves more, and we'll cut that last. So after you do this, by the way, you want to wear a bandeau top like this. You don't want to wear anything with straps when you're cutting your hair because your hair gets in the way. We're cutting it ourselves, so when we're cutting it ourselves, you want everything to be straight, and you don't want anything else to get in the way. So you don't want any straps, no necklaces, no earrings, nothing in the way. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna roll it. Actually, I'm gonna take a little bit more because I feel like it's following. And again, you don't have to be straight. But when you start from the top, you're starting it really far back. You're starting, my ear is right here. But when you part it, it actually feels way farther back. So and you want to hit right behind your ear. And like I said, it doesn't have, it's a straight line is good, but you don't, the more important part is you don't want it you don't want the cut to be too far forward. So I have these hair clips I've actually had since I was in beauty school. And you just clip it. They probably still use in salons, and it's okay. I clip it to the side. And it's this, when you're cutting your hair by yourself, it's actually easier when your hair is longer. But not, sometimes it gets too long and it's a little uncomfortable, but it's actually easier to cut when your hair is longer because even when you mess up, it's not as noticeable, but we're not gonna mess up. Okay, so far back. And so we're gonna keep this as one section and you're just gonna leave it in the floor. My hair is still parted down halfway. So this is what we're gonna work with first. Now we're gonna do the same thing on this side. And it kind of gets in my eye. Well, I usually I'll part it this way and then I repart the front last because I'm doing it last. So right now I can't see, so I'm gonna repart it and then just combine the front part. Okay, so same thing on this side, behind the ear. Behind the ear. So again, your hair, because your head is round, your head is pretty round, so it doesn't, when you're looking this way, it feels like your ear is right here because that's where your ear hits, but you actually want to go pretty far back. Like I actually start almost all the way back. And if you want me to redo any part of it, just let me know and I'll show you. Or if I need to like explain better. Okay. So that's behind the back, right? You always want to check. You need to have a second mirror to check. Okay. And then so this is, we're not going to work with the front yet. So I actually just use a hair tie for this part. So what is really important though is that you start it in the same part. So this isn't probably not straight, but I'm going to just, because I can't see, I'm going to just hold it first and then we're going to go from there. So this is probably not straight. So because we're parting on different sides. Okay, so. See how this part, the line just isn't straight. So we're going to just even it out. Where's my hair? Okay. So we're just pulling all of it forward. This can go in the back. This can go in the back. I have these baby hairs in the front. Okay, so what we're going to do is now comb it this way. So this part, I have to see. Okay, so this is the little part that was sticking out. Okay, that's good enough. Yeah, see, that's straight. Okay, so this part we're gonna save last. We're just gonna tie it up. I'm just gonna use a hair tie and I just put it all in a little ponytail holder because they stay on longer because my hair is getting long. Before I was just using the hair clips. If you use these hair clips, you wanna put it in an X, like one on this side, like one on that. But right now I'm just gonna put it in a little ponytail and then I clip it. Okay, so everything else we're gonna bring forward. So it's still parted down the middle. Okay. So I'm just gonna comb it with a big one, break brush, and then we're gonna comb it with a small brush, or the small comb. Okay. And what you wanna do, especially when your hair is wet, you wanna do it when your hair is wet because when it's dry, it moves, and you wanna make sure everything is a straight line. So sometimes there's little, let's see if I can catch it. I don't know if you can tell, like right here, it's just kind of, you're pulling it, but there's still little parts that aren't straight, like, see how this part's sticking out? So what you want to do is you want to comb from the top of your head all the way down. And you want to pull it forward. All of it. And you want to hold it and just yank it down. We're going to cut both sides at the same time. So you want to do the same thing on the side. Make sure you get all of the hair, because sometimes there's like a little part that sticks out like that and you're grabbing it and that part's going to be uneven. So all the way down from your head. And there's stuff, if your hair gets knotty, I don't know if I still have the bottle. It's this white milky stuff. I think it's called Not Your Mom's Curl or something. I don't think I have it with me. It's this like milky bottle with pink stuff on it. I don't know if you guys know. It's like Not Your Mom's Curls or Curl. I don't know. It's like $10 at like any drugstore. But that stuff, if you have a knot, it works really well. I also use this. I use Bedhead. I don't actually have anything in my hair right now. I just showered. But it's the After Party. I don't know if you can see. But this one. This is really good for flattening your hair straight when you're cutting your hair. And you only want to put it on the roots. If you have like wavy hair or curly hair, that's what you need. But my hair is like super straight, so I don't really need anything besides water. So again, you want to pull it straight down. And don't forget about the hair on the top. You want it straight down. And we're going to pull it straight forward. Okay, and again, you use your fingers and you pull it down. Okay, so now you will see. This is actually the hardest part because you have to get it all straight. Okay, so what we're going to do is figure out how long you want it. When you comb it, I comb it like diagonal because your hair is split like this. So when you comb it, you're actually combing it this way and then down. So we're combing it not like this, we're combing it like this. And then you pull it down forward. I hope that makes sense. I'll do it again. So you pull it, you comb it like this vertically to get all the hair. And then you pull it this way down. Okay, so now once you do that, and you have it all held up right here, the tightness, then you do it again vertically down. This is to get all the hair in the same straight line. So you're going to use your scissor hands, and that means everything from this point up is the same tension. And there's no flyaways. Everything is the same. I can move it this way. I can move it that way. Everything is the same tension when I have it down at that angle. So when you cut, doing that again, we're going to cut all of it at once because I know when you go to a salon, people cut a little bit by little, but you are cutting it yourself. So this is different. So we're going to cut it all the way down. Make sure your head is facing straight and you're looking forward. If you don't know if your head's straight, you lean up against a wall and you keep that angle moving forward. Because sometimes my head angles differently, especially when I'm talking. So I make sure I'm looking straight forward. And when I'm cutting, I'm actually looking straight forward too. So again, you pull your hair straight. I get a little, like, my neck gets red right here when my hair is wet. Okay, so straight down, and now we're gonna cut. So I want my hair right like around like the nipple area. So I'm cutting all that. So when you cut, you hold it like this, and it's okay if some of it falls off. We're gonna cut it again. So when you cut it like this, and usually when you're cutting people's hair, you cut it this way. But since I'm cutting it by myself, it doesn't matter, I go this way. So we're gonna cut. I should bring my garbage can here actually, so I'm not cutting it onto the floor. Okay. Okay, so, and it's okay, your hands are only so big, you're gonna miss parts of the hair. So we're gonna do it again. And you can pull from different angles as long as, so right now I'm pulling from the bottom, but the hair is already straight, I can feel it. When you're pulling, scissor hands, down. And you do it a couple times, you'll feel it on your head. You can tell when all of the hair is straight, because it will hurt your head in certain parts when it's not. Okay, so we're gonna pull it all the way down. So we're gonna look straight forward when we do the last comb. I'll be able to see, sorry. Let me pull over here. Okay, straight down. And my finger is touching the comb. So that's how you know you're doing it straight. So see how I missed a little bit? See how there's that little bit right here? That's because my fingers are only so big. So we're gonna recut. And you can kind of see where the line is. Let's go this way. I don't know. You can kind of see where the line is. And it's okay if it's not straight. We're gonna fix it. And you just cut to the shortest point. This is going to, so this style of cutting is going to make the middle part a little bit longer. It's going to look like a V in the back. I actually don't like that, so I'm going to fix that in the end. But right now, how I'm teaching you, it's going to create a V at the end, like this in the back. And this is because when you're pulling forward, the hair on the bottom is going to be the longest, right? Because the hair on the top is, when you're facing this way, but then your hair goes like this. So then this part actually gets shorter. But some people like that. I don't know why I like the straight line, but I'll show you how to fix that later. Okay, so we're doing the same thing, combing it down. And your hair dries up, like my hair's already drying up, but it's still not blowing in the wind, which is fine. All right, so straight down, looking forward. Straight down. See how I missed a little bit more? So we're gonna cut that part. And see how all of it looks the same right here? That's where my line is. So I'm gonna cut. Okay, and you just keep doing it over and over again until all of it is about the same. It takes about 3 or 4 times. It's a lot easier when your hair is wet. So you always wanna comb down vertically. It's easier to hold it like this, upside down with the point up, and then comb down. So I don't even hold it from here, I hold it like this. And then up like this. And then once you feel the tension is the same because nothing's snagging, you go from the back and go like this. You kind of like make a U. And right when I have enough time, I put space, you put your fingers down and you pull straight down looking forward. If you don't look forward, this is gonna be off, and I don't know how to tell you. People, that's the biggest thing, people forget to look forward. All right, so see how there's still, I don't know if you can tell actually, this is the line and this is the part I cut a little too long. I don't know if you can tell. It's hard to show on the camera. Maybe I should have worn white. Okay. This is actually the point. And you can tell, you can see it. It's harder to see. Okay. And after you finish doing it a couple times, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to do the other side. Then we have to cut it both again to make sure they're even. So normally I don't wear any clothes when I'm doing this. So I use like my chest area to compare. But right now, and I shouldn't have worn dark. Maybe there's like a white. I have a towel I can show you. This is like my rag that I use. Okay. Let me comb it first. So we're going to do the other side now, and we're going to make sure it's even. See how there's like, it's hard for me to show right here. I don't know if you can tell. There's like those little, it's not even because I didn't pull it down yet. That's how you can, and you can feel it because it's looser up here. So you, like I can do this when I'm blind because you can just feel it. Once you learn how to feel the tension of your hair. Okay. It's like when you're combing your hair through a brush with a brush and it hurts. It kind of feels like you didn't comb that part. Okay, so now I have it straight. Now I'm gonna look forward. We're gonna show you the length first. Okay. This is also why you don't want to wear a t-shirt, because when you're combing it like this, sometimes your hair gets stuck on the linen. But I'm just gonna show you for height, or for the shortness. Okay, so now we're gonna just show you, like, this is the part. This is how, and so you want to measure exactly across to make sure it's even. And what you do is you do the same thing, you comb. So my tension, because your hair is already wet, the tension is pretty much the same. So you can just start right here, just for measuring, you know, and then you go pull it straight down, looking forward. And I see it's right here. So I'm going to do it again and put my finger on it. Right here. So that's going to be where I cut. And again, when you cut, sometimes you can, I've used like kitchen scissors, I've used like 99-cent scissors, you know, but it doesn't matter. When you cut, typically when your fingers, especially when you're not used to them, because I don't cut hair a lot, I just cut my own. When you cut sometimes, let's see, I'm trying to see how to show you. When you cut, the scissors like push your hair. So the very end of the tip is going to be longer. See, I cut this way. And when you cut, you'll feel it. You'll feel it pushing your hair back. And sometimes you miss it. And so I'm cutting this way down. So this top part, which is right here, is going to be a little longer. And that's okay. That's normal, even if you're really good. My hair, I have a little, it's probably going to get worse. I don't know. It's because the hair is wet. Okay. So my skin's really sensitive. Okay. We're going to continue and make sure this is the same. And we're just going to make sure it's straight. We're not going to make sure it's even, because we're going to combine it and figure that all out later. We just want to make sure the height is somewhat similar, so when we combine, we're not cutting like a massive amount on one side. You always want to make sure that the most important thing when you're cutting your hair is making it sure it's even. Everything else can be fixed, like the height or like how short or long it is can be fixed based on how it's even. Because sometimes, what if one side's really short and then one side's really long? You're cutting more off than you want to. So, okay, so we're gonna do this again. And make sure it's even. Okay, so fingers, and then looking straight. You're pulling it forward like you don't want to pull it out. You want to pull it forward, and I'm matching the slope of my skin. So see, when I cut certain parts, that's why some parts are longer. It's never going to be perfect the first time, because when you cut, it pushes the hair up. Let me see if my camera can show you. When I'm cutting it really slow, it'll move the hair. See, when I'm cutting it, I don't know if I can show you. It basically, when you're cutting, it pushes the hair up a little bit. Very like light, so you can see it moving. See how it pushes up right there? That's what it's doing. That's normal. And what you do is you just cut it again over and over again, really small slips, and then it's even. Even enough. Okay. So I'm going to do it again. Same thing, just to make sure it's all even. If you have any questions, let me know. Like, if you want me to redo it or show you something better, let me know. Okay, so, oh, my head wasn't straight. And you'll know your head's not straight because all of a sudden your hair is going to be super uneven. And hopefully you don't cut when it's like that. You always want to cut and be certain that you're cutting, not like, oh, is that where the straightness should be? Okay, so it should all relatively look the same. See how this part's longer? It's because the scissors move, and that's okay. No matter how good you are, it's going to move. That's because we're cutting too much, right? Like, because you're cutting by yourself. When you go to a salon and you're cutting your hair, people's hair, the biggest rule that they tell you is you don't want to have like a huge amount of hair that you're cutting, because of that, it moves the hair. So you're supposed to cut like little chunks of it at a time. People don't do it anyway because they want to like get as much client time as they can, like as many people going through their pipeline. But that is what they teach you in beauty school. You're not supposed to cut a lot of hair. Okay. I mean, you can, if you're not very good and you want to try, like I've done this for years, like I just cut my own hair. But if you don't know how to do it really well, what you can do is you can do this. Take a small chunk of hair, even less than this, especially if your scissors aren't, you can do it with dull scissors. You're not supposed to. People say it's going to damage your hair. I do it sometimes. So you just take a little bit. You can even take as little as this. Like sometimes, like just something for a marker, and you pull it forward. Same thing with the tension. Pull it straight down. I'm literally like, my finger on the inside is touching my skin when I pull it down. And then wherever it is, I hold it tight, and that's, you don't want to go too close because then you can't see the line, and you also don't want to go too far because your hair turns like limp. See how it's not straight? You don't want to cut when it's not straight. So the perfect amount is maybe like 1 or 2 inches, and you can just do a little bit. See, I'm just doing a little, and you're going to cut it, and then wherever you cut it, then you grab a little bit more hair. You always want to start from the bottom. Start from this part of your head. That's the best indicator for your, like how long or short you want it. So this is my chunk of hair. You want to go from the bottom, and you can make a square or triangle. They teach you to make little triangles in beauty school. Okay, so then you do a little bit more, then you measure it, then you grab a little bit more, and eventually you just are lazy like me because I already know like how to look for it, I guess. And you just do all of it at once with the scissors moving the hair. Okay, so that's pretty straight. This is because this is some, like, you know, your fingers are not perfect. So I can tell that part was not because of the length, but because of my tension that wasn't straight. Okay, so to me, that's straight enough. There's nothing really sticking out too far. There's nothing, you know, everything is pretty much the same. So that to me is good. So we're gonna comb it, and now we're gonna check. And how we're gonna check for both sides, make sure you have all your hair. I have little hairs down here. You wanna make sure all of it is pulled forward. See, like sometimes the top part of your hair right here, don't bring your hair forward like this. Bring it forward like this, how it naturally sits down. When you're looking forward, what does it look like? That's the position. Because sometimes my hair tends to go forward. See, the mark is right back here, and it goes forward. You don't want that. You want it down. And that's why your hair has to be wet. Okay, so we're going to do that. Now we're going to see if it's even. I'm going to show you with this so you can see. Okay. I'm probably not going to do it with this on just because it's hard for me to even it out when I'm having to lean back. I'm just going to show you really quick what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it because okay, so we're going to comb it forward, and what we're going to do is do the same thing. We're going to, what I just told you, we're going to take a little bit, and we're going to take a little bit from the bottom part of the hair. Just enough from both sides so we can make sure. So this part, you still want to keep it separate. We're just going to hold on to this part. You can put it in the back, I guess. Same thing from the bottom. Okay. Now what we're going to do is see if it's even. And they should be somewhat similar, but it's okay. It's always going to be off because we didn't like measure it or anything. So what you want to do is do the tension thing, and I'm going to show you how to do it, but I'm going to explain it first. And you're going to pull it straight down with both fingers to the middle of your chest, like inside your boob cleavage area. And you're going to hold it like this, going down. And then we're going to look and see if it's even. So it's hard for me to do this because this isn't attached. I don't have a white bandeau. I don't really wear bandeau tops. But it's hard to see in this, what I'm wearing. So put that there. Okay. I have like a white bra, but I'm gonna have to take the straps off. I don't know. It's just, I'm just gonna do it like this. Okay. So we're gonna take a little bit of hair. And you wanna make sure you're taking it from the same part. You don't wanna take it one down here and one up here because we're gonna measure going upwards. So do the same thing, tension forward. And then tension going forward. Okay. And you can use a clip so your hair doesn't like separate from the outside. Actually, when you clip, you want to clip from the back so it doesn't move it moves forward instead of back if it does. Same thing on this side, but I'm just going to do one side. Okay, so we're going to see if it's even. And you can feel it on both sides. When you pull on your hair, you'll feel like, oh, this part is higher than this part. You want to make sure it's all, you can just feel it. I can't explain it over stream. Okay, so we're going to take, that was too much. Okay, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to get the tension. There's only so little, so you don't need that much. Okay, there's obviously more on this side, but you can just feel, because it should all be even. What we're going to do is we're going to pull it forward towards our neck, like a necktie, like this. This. We're going to look forward. Make sure our neck is similar. If you don't know, you can just, again, lean back and then walk forward. Okay. That is the part that I forget the most, and sometimes I think most people forget that the most. So what we're going to do is the tension is the same. You can feel it. We're going to comb it all. It doesn't matter which point. We're just going to hold it like this, and then we're going to combine it at the very end and hold the tension. Hold the tension the same, and I'm gonna just pull it straight down. And so you see how one side is shorter and one side is longer? That's the difference. And so you're obviously you can't make it grow, so what you're gonna do is cut off the longer part. So right now my left side is a little bit longer. Yeah, my left side. So, and that's fine. And this is the guide. Remember how I told you take a little bit at a time? It doesn't matter how good you are, you still have to do that for this part, because you can't just grab all the hair and like cut it like this. So it's like, and again, your hair. So another thing is, if you do cut and it moves, another trick is just to cut a little bit at a time instead of cutting it all off. That'll ensure the line's straight. And that actually is what you're probably supposed to do, but it doesn't make that big of a difference to me. And when your hair is longer, any little imperfection, it's not going to be that noticeable. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing and make sure it's the same before we move on to the rest of our hair. So make sure your head is straight. And we're going to pull it straight down. And we're going to combine it in the center. And we're going to squish it with our middle finger. It looks like a halter, or what do you call this? I don't know what you call it, whatever this is. We're going to put it in between our cleavage, like that little line when you squish your boobs together. When I'm not wearing anything, I push it in between that area. I push it flat. And we're going to do the same thing, pull it down, like you're draining the water out of, like wringing the water out. And it's pretty much the same, but you want to do it a couple times. See, it's almost the same, but not quite even. So I'm going to just even it out again. This is why you want to do it a couple times. I do it about 3, but this is pretty straight. Okay, so now that's my guide. These are my guides. Because now we got the height, or the length, pretty much the same. Now we're going to do the same thing. And so normally if you're not that good, you can just do a little bit more and then just use this guide and cut it and make sure it's the same. See how the guide is shorter and then that's the hair. See, this is the part where you don't want to cut that because that part's like not straight. So we're going to avoid that little part that's on the bottom and just cut this part. New little cuts are I just cut all the way through. My beauty school teacher probably would be like, you're doing it all wrong. You're not supposed to do it that way. Okay, so we're gonna get all attention now because I just do it all at once. But if you're not too experienced or you're a little more timid, which is fine if it's your first time, like you want to be careful, just do a little bit and take your time. It's okay, you'll get better at it over time. So make sure, again, no tension. And this is why you want to do it a couple times, because even if you do miss a little bit because you can't see, it'll eventually get caught within the second or third time when you do it. Okay, so we're going to, because this part's longer, so we're going to looking straight down and then pulling the tension. My fingers are on my skin, and then you comb down. So my guide is on the bottom. It's not a big difference, but this part we cut short. So now we're going to cut the rest of it shorter. See how it's longer right here? my hair is getting a little dry on the top and it's still wet in the middle, that can change your the length of your hair, because when it's longer, when it's wet, the hair is weighed down by water, so it actually makes it longer. So I usually you can have a spray bottle and spray it, but I'm just gonna do it. So now all this should be somewhat similar, but we weren't cutting off that much, so the height or the length of it is still about the same. So that's why it's not that big of a difference, and that's why we're not combing it over and over again, because the difference wasn't that big to begin with, because we already somewhat got close. So I'm just going to double check again. Okay, so this is the top, this is the front part of my hair, and this is the bottom. So I'm going to just cut a little bit more. Okay, that's good enough. Now we're going to do the same thing and measure, because this part was shorter and this part's longer, so we don't have to do anything on this side. Actually, I think I'm going to wet it a little bit, because it is really hot right now. I'm just going to use the sink. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to wet my hair. Okay. So we're going to make sure now it should be the same. And if it's not, you just keep doing it over and over again until it's the same. It's okay if this part tends to dry out first. It's okay if that part's, unless you are annoyed at it. You don't want it dripping though. You want it like you just got out of the shower like 10 minutes later. But let's see, it is really dry by the nape of my neck. Okay, so get all the little kinks and knots out again, and make sure the tension is equal and it's not dripping. Okay, do it again. I know, it's hard for me to see through this little part. Okay. So remember the parting, you want to make sure you comb it down so the parting is straight first, down, instead of moving forward. Then you comb it forward. That's why you comb it vertically, and then you turn it this way. So we're going to do it again. And make sure it's even. And now it should be even. I didn't do anything to the side because the side was already shorter. So you take a little bit from the inside, and a little bit from the outside, inside from this side. Pull on it, make sure it's the same part of your head on both sides. See how there's all this, the tension isn't the same. See how right on this side? See how there's a little gap? That's how you can tell the tension's not the same. So you want to keep, and you can see it, you'll see it's not all in one piece. Okay. It's more about feeling, I guess, than it is about looking, because it's hard to look in the back, but you can feel it when your hair is long. You can feel when something is not being pulled as hard as another part of your hair. And so make sure there's no kinks. Okay. Same thing. Now we're gonna smush it to the middle and then comb down. And when you get to the chest area, I just let go and then I combine the pieces because the tension is the same. And you kind of cross it over. And then use these fingers. You're not supposed to use these fingers for tension when you're in beauty school, but right now you're cutting it by yourself. You gotta use what you got. All right, so now it's even. Maybe a little bit off, but it's not a big deal. So now there's a little bit of hair. Let's see. Not that part, that's the different part. I don't know how to show. See how there's a little bit of hair, it's off, you can just cut it, but it's not gonna make a big difference because, okay. Okay. So right now this is a V. If I showed you in the back, now we're gonna combine it because now they're equal, they're even. So you combine it and you comb all of it back, and you still have this top part. So we're gonna comb everything except for the front back. How it normally hangs, you can shake it, make sure it's in its natural position. I'm gonna use my big comb. This wet brush, I don't know if you guys had a wet brush, this is so good. Like I've had this one for a long time. I have like many other ones. It's just called Wet Brush, and it doesn't like I don't even use any other brush anymore. It's been around forever, and it doesn't hurt your hair. I just like can yank it as hard as I want. Okay, so this it's gonna look longer in the middle. If you don't like it, you can fix it right now. So and I'll show you how to do that. So right now, let me look really quick and I'll show you. I can't see. I gotta because I usually don't wear something where it hits. So I gotta see it's the same height for myself. And then I'll show you guys. Okay, I'm gonna check really quick. Or I guess I'm gonna show you. Okay. I've never cut my hair with like wearing stuff, so it's kind of hard. Can't really tell right now. Let me comb it down and I'll show you. And remember, you're still looking forward, straight. You kind of just comb the bottom part because I already combed the top, just to make sure the length is the same. I'm going to check after I just showed you. Can you see that? Okay, let's see. See how the sides are a little bit shorter than this piece? See how this part looks like the longest? That's the middle back part of my hair. So that part is, I don't like that. So that's the part we're going to fix. And what we're going to do is basically cut all this part so it's even. And that whole part is just the back of our head. So this is what we're going to do. Because I like my hair straight on the back. And if you don't like it straight, you like it like a V. It's a very subtle V. Then you can just keep it like this, but I don't like that. So what we're going to do, the part that makes it long is the part that's underneath your ear. Where not your earlobe, not like, I mean, everybody, I guess it's different for everybody, but you'll know, like, I don't know, maybe you won't know, I'm trying to explain how. Like, the part of your head right before it curves. Like, your neck, there's your neck, and then it starts going, like, fatter, right? It starts going, protruding a little bit out this way, and then it goes up. So you want to get the hair, all of it, before it starts protruding. That's the part that makes it long. So, for me, it's like not my earlobe, not this part, but like this part. That's when it starts going out for me. So what we're gonna do is draw a straight line in the back, like literally just, I mean, you can use your comb. Where's mine go? Okay. You can just use your comb, or you can do, I just use my finger because it's easier to feel, and it's the nape of your neck, like right here, that little hair, that's what's making it long. So I normally use my comb for everything else, but for this part, I use my finger because you can feel where your head goes up. Kind of like comb it. It's like I'm fingering my ear. Okay. And then you're going to separate that hair from the rest of your hair. And you can actually, I think I'm going to go up a little bit thicker because I actually like the bottom of my hair a little bit shorter. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. Okay. Especially in the summertime, I don't like having, I like the bottom, this part of my hair to be shorter. I don't know, it just feels like I get knots a lot on the bottom of my hair. Okay, so this is the leftover, right? So now we're going to split this on each side. I'm just like, I have to, let me see if I can show you. Okay, so this is the back of my hair. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just gonna, because this is such a little part of your hair, that's not gonna matter because we're not cutting that much off. We're just making the line straight instead of making it like a V. Like it already looks fine. And then now we're just gonna tailor it. Okay, so this is the part of your hair that's making it a V. When you see a V in your head, it's usually the middle back of your hair, not the front. It's not the middle top part of your hair. It's always the bottom of your hair. Because when you're moving your head around, this part doesn't typically move because it's not on the, like it doesn't move as much as your top. So that's why it's always longer. We're gonna do the same thing, comb it with the big brush, and we're gonna comb it and get the tension again. I'm gonna comb it straight and then down. So straight, down. Same thing on this side. I'm gonna comb it straight and then down. So now the hair is the same. And when it's dry, you'll see it start doing stuff like this. And that's why it's good to have wet hair. We're almost done with this part. This is the last part. So you're gonna pull it down and you're just gonna cut like not even a 1/4 inch. Or whatever the difference of it is in your on the back. But for me, it's the same all the time. It's always like this much. Like that much, very little. Like this is like the length of your fingernail when it's cut. My fingernails are cut, so it's the length of like your fingernail, like very little. It's so little that if you did it, you wouldn't really notice. That little, like don't go too much. So this is all the hair, and I'm probably gonna cut only half of it. I'm cutting it like that much. I wish I could show you like a length. This is like literally the size of my pinky nail. That much. Not this whole thing. We're not cutting right here. We're cutting middle. So, and this is the only part of the hair that we're cutting. And then we're doing the other side. So I'm literally cutting just a little. And if you do it you cut your hair over and over again, you'll know what that length is already because it's going to be the same every time. When you pull your hair forward, everybody's head is different, but it's not going to grow and change. So for me, after doing it so many times, I realized that my hair is like only like this much. So I'm going to cut it straight. Just a little bit. And if you even want to go a little bit farther, this part is the part that's the longest. And this is the part that's compared to this bunch, that bottom part is going to be a little bit longer. So you can cut it at a little angle if you want to, which is what I usually do. So we're going to do it. You got to do it like 1 or 2 times because you always want to check and make sure. All right. So the bottom of my hair in the middle is down here. So I want to make this part shorter. We're cutting at a diagonal so that it makes it even. Because when you're pulling your hair forward, pulling all your hair forward, the part that is the longest is going to be the part that is the shortest distance from that, which is the bottom of your hair, to your chest. That is it's shorter to go from here to here than it is to go from up here to here, which is why this is longer, which is why you cut it at a diagonal, because this is the very bottom of my hair. This part of my hair is the very bottomest part of that center. So that's why we're cutting at a diagonal. But it's such a slight diagonal. Like I said, this is like, we're like really nitpicking because it's already good. So we're gonna cut a little bit. Just a little diagonal. So see how it's a little bit, it's so subtle. Like if you didn't do this, it's fine. But I'm like, I don't like that like V shape to me. So we're gonna do the same thing. And we're not changing the length per se. We're just making it straight. So measuring it, as long as the very first cut, which was like that fingernail size, is the same, it should not be too big of a difference. So we're looking straight still. You look down. Okay, so I'm just going to cut off a fingernail. And then I'm going to cut it a diagonal. Just a little bit. And then you can make sure if you want to make it straight or not. I typically just leave it, but you always want it, if you don't know too much, you just want to check and make sure. So looks pretty even. Like maybe this part's because I didn't bunch it. I'm kind of just doing it really fast at this point. My hair is getting dry. Usually I just do it really quick and then it's like by the time it dries, it's done. Okay, so now I'm gonna check and make sure like, oh, it's so dry. I need to wet it again. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's put it for the knot. All right. Do it again. Straight down. See how there's a little kink right there? Make sure that you're straight. Okay, and it's straight. Okay, so we're good. And then now we're done with the back. It should be a little bit, it should be a little straighter. And it's hard to tell when your hair is wet, so it's sometimes if you can blow dry it and check, and then wet it again if it's not. So let's check and make sure it's straight and not like a V. Okay. I'm gonna check. See. Like I said, it's hard to tell. I'm wearing this towel. Okay. He's texting me. Let me check really quick. It looks a little more straight. That still actually counts like a little V. I think maybe I didn't go high enough. But like I said, this is like so like subtle that it's okay. Like right here. And that is like that same part that I pulled. So in that situation, I would have just pulled more. But to me, it's like not that big of a difference. If it's a little bit of a V, but it's straight. That's the part that's the most important. It's straight and all the hair is even. So like when you pull forward, it doesn't look like there's no strange outliers. When your hair is dry, there's like different parts of my hair that's wet right now, so it doesn't look too even, and different parts of it is like more dry. But when I'll blow dry it after I rinse it off really quick, and I'll show you. And then you can like touch up from there if you want. Okay, now we're gonna do the front. So this doesn't really matter anymore. This doesn't matter. If your hair you want it straight across, same length as everything, you're just gonna follow the guide from like this part. And then if you want it shorter, you still follow the guide, and at the end you just cut separately. So this is just, we're gonna first make all the hair even. But for the front, this part, I cut it shorter in the front. So when you cut it, it's gonna it already looks shorter, and I'll show you. So you don't really need to worry about, your hair can be all over the place. You can just have it down normally now. So I'm just gonna part it in the middle again. I might wet it a little bit. Let me wet it a little bit. Okay. You want to just make sure the tip is at least wet, this part, because that is where you're going to be cutting. So it's still not wet enough because parts of it is still dry, so you want to wet it a little more. Okay, you want it like if I tilt it to the side, it's straight. You don't want it to like dangle and like be limp. We're just gonna part it the same way how I had it before. And this doesn't change, whatever direction you part your hair for this front part isn't gonna change the back. So if you part it on the side, then we're gonna just cut more hair on this side. If you cut it on this side, we're gonna cut less hair on this side and more hair on that side. But it's still the same thing. It just doesn't matter which side you part it. The hair would be still the same in the back. So we're just gonna part it wherever direction you part it. It doesn't matter, just part it. I'm gonna part it down the middle.